G'day, Chris Walker. Did you know there are two sides to everything? There's two sides to a leaf, there's two sides to a flower, there's two sides to the universe. There's two sides to you, and there's two sides to a molecule, there's two sides to an atom. That's quite a remarkable simplicity, really, but it becomes complex when you start talking about human nature. Because in human nature, we like to think there's just one side. We like to think there's a good without a bad, or a right without a wrong, or a up without a down, or a character that hasn't got an anti-character. And it's these, what you'd call misunderstandings that lead to emotional turbulence. Emotional turbulence is when we think that we can be peaceful without warful, we think we can be happy without sad, we think we can be right without wrong. That's what runs mass consciousness. It's called good marketing. It's called fundamentalism. And today in your Back on Track program, I'd like you to explore the possibility that there are two sides to everything, including your thoughts. And maybe in exploring that, you'll break through a self-limiting belief that's been keeping you, let's say, away from an opportunity to live your life at your full potential. But when it comes to thought, we have the illusion, which is free will, to think there's one side, that we can be a good without a bad person, we can be right without a wrong person, we can be an up without a down person. And some of those beliefs are the cause of stress. In fact, the definition of stress is a lopsided belief. So what we're going to do today in the Back on Track program is explore thinking. Now, thinking has 7 layers, and there's a diagram on your page today which demonstrates what they call the cone of consciousness. At the bottom of that cone, there is the got-to thought. The got-to is when we have a ratio of 7-to-1 imbalance of thoughts. So we get 7 positives to 1 negative, or 7 negatives to 1 positive. And in the case of marketing, that generates the buy now impulse. In the case of life and relationships, it causes the lust or run, the infatuation or resentment motive. So what we're trying to do here is to understand that we have a choice. We can think in got to, or we can think in should, which is 7-to-1. We can think in need to or want to, which is 4-to-1. We can think in desire to, choose to, and love to, which is balance. When we think balance, we see the two sides of people, we see the two sides of things. Now, just to put this in context, a judgment is a one-sided thought, a stress is a one-sided thought, an emotion is a one-sided thought. Now, if you think about what causes most social and human breakdown, it's one-sided thinking. And so the idea of introducing balance, you would think, would be a very welcomed idea. But it isn't a welcomed idea. It conflicts with most religious, social and cultural paradigms that have been brought about to control groups of people and make sure they don't get out of hand. So you're being introduced to something here which is not for mass consciousness, but it is true that there is in the whole entire universe not one single place that's out of balance. So it's over to you now. It's your turn to explore the possibility that there's balance in life. That everything in nature evolves at the border of chaos and order. In other words, nature seeks a balance in all things. And when they get out of balance, she rebalances them. And that's the definition of evolution. If you look at a tree, why has it grown so big? Because it got out of balance and it's actually grown back to the other side. Why do the tides come in and out? And why is the ocean and why are rocks eroded on the seashore? It's because the tide comes in, the tide goes out. Why do we have weather patterns? Why do we have wind? It's because we have a high pressure zone and a low pressure zone, and they're trying to equalize. So nature evolves at the border of chaos and order. And therefore in your life, because you are part of nature, you evolve at the border of chaos and order. Today is an opportunity for you to explore the potential of seeing the order in the chaos. In other words, to see that bad things happen, not because you're a bad person or because you messed up, but because there's order in the chaos, and you need to have that in order to grow and evolve as an individual. Now, we can self-inject challenge, we can self-inject chaos, we can go through learning periods, we can go to school, we can learn, or we can plateau. And when we plateau, this is what's called nature sending a tsunami. So what we're trying to do is introduce a model here that gives you an understanding that there's order in the chaos, that we evolve, and that you can, by doing a vision setting and a business planning and a life planning program, set some goals that challenge you. By challenging yourself, nature doesn't have to, and you don't have to be suffering or struggling through a tsunami that you didn't expect. This is Chris Walker. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.